Hello, Sydney here, and welcome to the Drunken Ork. Now last time I showed you a couple of trucks I've been kit bashing because I think trucks are going to be quite an important part of the new codex. Certainly a lot of use for the smaller ork units to bomb forward, and obviously trucks are great for doing that. So this time I'm going to look at something else I've been doing. I've recently finished 2 Deff Dreads. I'm a big fan of Deff Dreads, always have been. And I think they're especially good in the new codex, to be honest with you. So what I've done is I've put 2 together, a little bit different, used a normal Deff Dread kit and some other models, and I've made the krumpiest of Badmoon Dreads and the shootiest of all shooty dreads. So that's one Goff, I'll put the pictures up so you can see them now as well. So this one, a Goff Deff Dread with 4 killer claws, and this one, a Badmoon Deff Dread with 4 custom mega shooters. It'll probably blow up, but you know, it's good. So I'm going to show you the steps I went through to put these together. Now, just a quick look, you could probably tell the other kit I used primarily, apart from the Deff Dread kit, was the Mech. I remember what faction it was there for a second. The Mech Onager Dune crawler. I quite fancied that, to be honest with you, so I thought, yeah, I'm going to give that a shot and see if I can make a big spider dread. And then I just put the other together just because I had some bits left over. So what I will say before we go into these steps, I'll apologise. I had a few comments after my last video with the trucks saying it, asking if it was possible to show a few more of the steps I took, and yes, I would very much like to do that. Unfortunately, I tend to have quite a limited attention span and I get very excited, and when I'm building something I tend to rush forward a few steps and I miss a lot out. So the dreads were done before I'd committed not to do that again. So we do kind of start, you know, it's not a step-by-step process. It's step 7, 8, 13, 22. That sort of process, if that makes any sense. Anyway, let's have a look. Well, this is the first picture I took. This is, as you can see, the legs off a Onager Dune crawler. Look at them. I'm fitting the Deff Dread onto a 60mm base because that's the size base that Deff Dreads come with. But the Onager comes with a 120mm base because it obviously normally has four points of contact with the ground. Now, I didn't want to put it on a 120mm base because that's a little bit not right, if that makes sense. I wanted to be able to use it as a game piece as well, so I thought I better try and put it on a 60. So the best way to do that was to have it rearing up, hence the stabilising shoes on the back legs but not on the front. A little bit of green stuff on the base as well, just to help sort of level it out, and to stick some rocks and the you know, usual Space Marine helmet in. Right, so there's that zoomed out with the body on. There's a couple of just little plastic cones off. I don't even know what they're off, to be fair. It might have been the Wasbomb Blaster Jet, but they're stuck on the top of the Onager legs with the Deff Dread torso on top of that. Now, I cut the bottom half of the Deff Dread off because I didn't want its leg or its hips section, and as you can see, I've patched up the hole with a bit of green stuff there. It's not very neat green stuff work. It doesn't have to be. I would rather put it on and get the right coverage, and then when it's fully dried, go over with a sharp craft knife and just trim off what I don't need, as opposed to sculpt it and have potential sort of, you know, drying issues or anything like that. If I put a little bit too much on, you can always cut it off. That's more the case with vehicles, mind, just when you're filling holes and what have you. I also wanted the torso to be looking down, because obviously if it's springing forward, it does spring over the base quite a bit. I was thinking I've got the centre of balance right, so it shouldn't tip over, but I wanted it looking down as if it's pouncing on top of something smaller, like a marine. That's just a shot of the back of the Onager. I'd pinned a couple of the Deff Dread exhausts onto it. Now, I'm a big fan of these exhausts. You get 4 of them with a Deff Dread, so I've pinned 2 of them onto the Onager body, and that means I don't have to use any more on the Deff Dread. I've got 2 spare, and a lot of my kit bashing is very much towards saving pieces from one kit to use on another, so I found that I was quite pleased with myself on that one. Just another angle of the Deff Dread torso on top of those plastic cones where it's attached, just to you know, show that off. There's not much else to see there really. And there you go, and that's it from the front. So that was the original, when I, you know, outline of it, where it was pouncing up, back legs were closer together, powering it forward, the front legs are like a bit mantis style. And you've got the big old Deff Dread can on top. But yeah, I was just putting some extra spikes on. So we've got the 2 spikes on the forearm bit, I suppose you'd call it. I think they're off a killer can. And then just some of the Deff Dread little hook claws, or klooks if you prefer, if you haven't got time to say hook claws. You stick them on the front just to give it extra spiky bits, which are going to slam down into someone. There you go, I've put a bit of texture stuff on the base just to cover up the green stuff and, you know, get that bit done there. And the back, you see there's 2 little painted panels on the back where the engines normally go. Because I've put the exhaust at the bottom, like I say, I didn't need to bother with the engines or the exhaust, so I've got them for another kit. But they are armour panels, armour plates, off the original Rogue Trader battle wagon. Back, I think it was 1990 that came out, and you had 2 types of plates like that. You had those ones and you had slightly thinner ones, and they were studded around the outside of the wagon's wheels, not the biscuit, and it based big iron shod wheels and that. And I remember prizing them off the wagon after that, went the distance back in the day, and I stuck them on the side of Chaos Rhinos and Predators and what have you, and then they travelled with us for 20 years in shoeboxes in the loft. So I got them out last year and then cannibalised them. So I had a few of those still knocking about, so it's nice to reuse them in a current kit. It takes us back to when I was, you know, like 13, 14 year old and first getting into the hobby, so that was pretty cool. There you go, another shot from the other side just to show off the back of the models that's coming on. So hopefully, I haven't taken too many photos, but hopefully from things like this you can see what's been done. There wasn't a great deal of cutting and manipulating pieces, it was just sticking new bits on really. The front I've put the jaw plate on, I give them 2 eyeballs, and I used the horns off a kit. Yes, I think that might have been a battle wagon. I'm not sure. It's a big horns anyway, and I did have to score away a little bit or carve away a little bit of the can just to get those horns to fit in there. And then for where the pole normally goes on the top of the banner, I've just stuck a barrel of a shooter I had knocking about. I thought it looked like a little chimney pot, and it's got a knife tied to it. But if anyone's going to tie a knife to a chimney pot, it's going to be an Ork, isn't it? So that's okay with me. There you go, slightly better angle. So you can see I think it looks like he's pouncing, or at least trying to look threatening. So that's cool. And there it is painted. Now I painted it because I was waiting for some extra pieces, which I'll get to in a second. But I painted it here. At this point I haven't had any arms put on. There's no arms on it at all. And I thought I might as well paint it, because at least then when I do get the arms sorted, I'll not have to think, oh, I've got the whole thing to paint. I'll just get this painted now. So it's quite a good way to do it. I found. I think I'll do it from now on with a lot of my sub-assembly sort of creations. Oh, there he is from the front as well with his arms on. No hands, you'll notice, no weapons. But he has got the 2 set up there on his main shoulder sockets, and you can't really see, but he has got the lower arms on as well. See them better there. So I wanted the front arms, the top arms, to look like he's bearing down on someone. And the back arms, I just wanted really to keep out the way, because the legs are in the way for them coming forward. So I thought if they're just more to the side, I thought that's probably the best place to put them. I did have to trim a couple of bits off. I had to take a piston off one of them just to get them in that position, but it wasn't difficult or anything. It's obvious what you need to do when you look at it. So that's it from that side. That's it from the other side. See, lots of check works on there, because it's obviously a Goff Dread, being the krumpiest one. And that's it from the back. Now, like I say, I didn't have the claws for this because I wanted to give it 4 of these claws, and I had 1, which wasn't very good. So I had to source another 3. Now 2 of them I got off good friend Dim, the hobby kit. He sorted us out with 2 of them. Good lad. Appreciate that very much indeed. And then the combat patrol box came out, so I picked one of those up to get the 4th. I didn't buy the whole combat patrol box just to get a claw. I wanted it anyway, but it was a nice little, you know, way to do it. And there it is, finished. Now, if I'm being totally honest, I do think it looks a bit busy. If I could do it again, and I've thought about trying to reposition the arms, I would possibly have the top arms a little bit more open. Now this is the problem, see, we're doing it without all the bits. If I'd had all the bits, I could have seen exactly what it looked like with everything. Well, I went and got excited and glued the arms on before I had the claws even in hand. So I would have the top arms with the elbows a little bit further back, just opening up those like claw profile a little bit more, and the bottom claws I think I would have just out to the side, nowhere near pointing forward, because with all 4 claws there, its legs just look a bit missing. And if you look at it, it just looks like a dreadnought with lots of arms and 2 stumpy legs, as opposed to 4-legged. You can see it a bit better from the side, and to be honest with you, when you're holding the model you can see it no problem at all, because, you know, 3D, innit? But I've decided that I'm not going to try and cut the arms off and reposition them and repin them and all the rest of it, because, well, sometimes you've just got to go, right, that's done, and move on. Learn a lesson, and that'd be it. Right, so here's the legs that I cut off the Deff Dread body for the Goff one. Yeah, little stumpy things. I had one of those cones spare again, so I stuck that on top, a bit of plastic card just to fill in the gaps, and then stuck that on top there. And this is where I'm going to take another massive leap. There we go. Right. So I'll try and talk you through what's going on here. It's the Onager Dune crawler top bit, cockpit, turret, you know, box, whatever. So you can see it's the hole underneath the Onager body where the legs would have went. That's where the cone on the new Deff Dread legs just popped up. I kept the little claw tool thing on the front, on the right hand side, but the left hand side I stuck a custom Mega Blaster on. Just literally hacked it off and stuck it on. On the left hand side of the Dread there, right hand side of the screen, there's another custom Mega Blaster, which is mounted onto, I think that's a bit of are the fuel pods I'd go on the end of the wings of the Ork jet. It's one of those really, with just a little bit of corrugated plastic card put in to fill the gap, and I just used it like a little sort of turret extension, I suppose, or gunnery arm. As you can see here, I just wanted to look at some of the weathering. This was something which the crafting troll was telling us about. A bit of super glue. So what I was doing, I was basically painting a bit of super glue with a cocktail stick, with no point running a brush, where I wanted the rusting to be, and then just sprinkling on bicarbonate of soda. It dries it straight away, and you get a lovely sort of textured effect, which looks like, you know, I mean, it looks like whatever you want to. It looks like nothing much here, but I've done that in a few places. A few plastic card dags around the bottom, corrugated plastic card on the sides, just with a couple of little rivets from Mech Industries, I believe they are, and just to sort of make, you know, orkify it up a bit. There we go from the back. Stuck some more glyphs on, patched up any holes with plastic card and more glyphs and rivets. Took the exhausts off. I used the other Deff Dread exhausts I'd used, so I stuck them on there. So I've got 2 Deff Dread engines now, but no spare exhausts for them. And if you can just see above the glyph, there's a little sort of plastic, grey plastic cylinder. I stuck that on, and I just used that as a mounting point to put a Killer Khan arm, or could have been one of the lower Deff Dread arms. And as you can see in the next picture, I stuck another custom Mega Blaster on that arm. So that's it, got 3 custom Mega Blasters at that point. From that side you can see a little bit more rusting as well, and a couple of glyphs and what have you stuck on. There it is from the front. There was a big rock on that base because I'd stuck a big rock onto a base. Simple as that. And it's been on there for ages, and I just thought I need a 60mm base. There's one. Oh, I'll just leave the big rock on it. So there you go. That's as in depth as that thought process went. There we go. That's the original gun I built it with, which I don't know what it is for the ad mech, but it's a custom Mega Blaster for me. Just a big gnarly one. Put the rocket pods on the side and just drilled out the bottom rocket and replaced it with a helmeted grot head And his little hands just in the bottom corner there, his little fingers as he's trying to, I don't know, push himself in, pull himself out. I don't think he's going to get fired from there, but just a bit of character. Maybe this is just where he sleeps. I wanted to have the Ork pilot sort of outside shown on this one, so that's the one I used. It's I think it's just the body of the Stomper mech, and I stuck a Storm Boy head in it because I just like that Storm Boy head, man. I mean, he's got a monocle, you know what I mean, and he's screaming, and it just goes well with the pointing and what have you. So there it is when I've started rusting it up. Usual technique, all dry brushed silver, well, prime black, dry brushed silver. Give it a good heavy dry brush of silver just to get all metallic-y. Give it a coat of Guilliman flesh, just at least on the metal areas, not so much the weapon areas, to be fair. And then dry brush some browns and then some oranges on it. I put a little bit more orange on the rust because I wanted that to look more orange. That's just a test fit with the Ork pilot in. There you go, I've put some yellows on there, and all for the yellows, Avalon Sunset, just paint it on, and then I give it a wash of Reichland flesh tone. Quite a reddy sort of wash. I put that on, and I generally go around the edges of the, well, just give it like an edge highlight, including the edges around where it's chipped away, with Uriel yellow, because I don't paint the whole thing yellow. I will just leave the odd patch of bare metal underneath, which you can sort of see on the leg there. And then, like I say, if you just go around the edge of that with a lighter yellow, it just looks like it's chipped away from the metal underneath. And there it is, a bit more weathered up with, you know, usual weathering techniques. Just little dabs of Nuln Oil or Nuln Oil gloss, which are used for like more of an oily stain. You could also use Typhus Corrosion, which I did. I've got a few other things from like Vallejo and what have you, like grime and what have you. So you just slap it on anywhere, really. Yeah, did a freehand Badmoon on the front because it's Badmoon 1, and that was it, really. Finished. To be honest, this one was, I always wanted to do the Goff Dread as just a big spider. It was an idea for a big spider dread I had, and I wanted to do it. And when I was sort of halfway through it, because I didn't ever finish anything, I started thinking, what am I going to do with the rest of this this Dune crawler kit? Because there's quite a lot of stuff left to it after you've taken just the legs off. And I was also looking at the little sad set of legs on the sprue, thinking, I've got like a couple of, you know, the Deff Dread hips were just lying there, and I've got the legs on the sprue. I need to do some of them. I thought, actually, you know what, I'm going to make a second one. I'll just put a big Dune crawler transit van looking body on top of these stumpy little legs. It'll be awesome. And you know what? I think I prefer it to a Spider Dread. Maybe it's the way the Spider Dread came out. If I wanted to do it justice, I would have had to do it on the original 120mm base, you know, with its arms flailing around everywhere, and it would have been next to useless as a gaming piece. So maybe I should have done that, but I think this one came out better. I certainly prefer it more. And some people say, is it not more Mega Dread size? Is it not huge? Not really. I mean, well, not at all. That's it compared to a standard Deff Dread. So that works out quite well. The Spider Dread is, to be fair, quite large. There you are then. Hope you enjoyed them. They were pretty straightforward to put together, to be honest with you. There was nothing really a massive challenge. Thoroughly enjoyed putting them together, hence the limited number of steps showing you them in the early stage. So on my next one, I think I'm gonna, you know, have to really record it properly to show the steps, because that seems to be what people want to see, which is great. To that end, I don't have anything else in the pipeline at the moment. I've got a few squads of boys that I want to finish off, and I fancy doing some more bikers, but I've got no other big sort of, you know, trucks, wagons, what have you, on the go. I've got a few ideas in the pipeline. So that's all. I have got something in the pipeline, but it's just ideas, ethereal creatures. So I'm thinking about doing a little video asking people to have a bit of a vote, see what they want to see us do next. But that's not this video, so I won't waste any more time on it. So don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, take care.